Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the 2018 NFL Draft Class, and specifically James Washington, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State. We're talking about his production analytics in this video, and for those that are new to the channel, just a quick synopsis on what production analytics is. It's where you take an individual offensive statistic and you divide it by the team total statistic. So, for example, if a wide receiver has 1,000 yards on a team that has 4,000 yards of passing yardage offense, then that wide receiver had 25% passing yardage market share. But what you do is you take that number or that performance and you compare it to every single wide receiver performance since the 1969 NFL Draft Class, and then boom, you have a way of seeing where this wide receiver performed in terms of every single performance since 1969. But you also have a way of seeing where did all the All-Pro players typically perform? Where did all the Pro Bowl players typically perform? And where did all the starters even perform in terms of their production data? Because there are very strong correlations that show that most All-Pro wide receivers typically perform very well in terms of market share data, as do Pro Bowl players, as do long-term starters, at least above average when it comes to the position. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at James Washington in terms of, one, how he performed against every single wide receiver since 1969, and two, how that performance says, or what that performance says about him in terms of his overall potential as a wide receiver in the NFL. So looking at James Washington's passing yardage market share production, he had a 73.74 out of 100 passing yardage market share production score. Based on data, he doesn't quite hit the 5-time All-Pro or 3-time All-Pro area, but does hit the 3-time Pro Bowl area in terms of his overall market share. So he's a wide receiver that essentially isn't quite into that elite area of wide receiver performances in terms of market share data, but definitely is in that Pro Bowl area. We're talking about guys like Dwayne Bowe, Mike Wallace. We're talking about those types of guys, really. Haywood Jeffries is another guy that's kind of like that. He's a little bit older. I know some of you guys may not even know who that is. But he's sort of in that area when it comes to James Washington. And when you look at the averages at the position, this is where things get a little dicey because he isn't quite an all-pro wide receiver in terms of the averages at the all-pro area, nor is he averages in terms of Pro Bowl players, nor the averages in terms of even long-term starters. So in many ways, James Washington isn't a giant concern to become a player, but he is a little bit below average when it comes to the average for a starter in terms of the NFL data. So definitely a good profile. I mean, James Washington's profile is not terrible per se. It's not like below average where there's just like no shot of him becoming a long-term starter, but he is a little bit of a concern in terms of the averages at the position. And you never want the ultimate upside for a wide receiver to be the 3-time Pro Bowl area. I mean, you want him to be a little bit better, especially if you're talking about a wide receiver you're considering to take in day 1 or day 2, because he is someone that's gotten a little bit of that hype. In terms of film, I like James Washington. I think he has very good hands, very strong hands, very good at the catch point. He's a guy that has a little bit more meat to him. He's kind of a thick wide receiver, so he has a little bit of that extra stuff to him that's very helpful. Is fast for a guy his size as well. Has long arms, has that length to kind of go up and get the ball. He's just a very, very impressive player. He isn't exactly elite. I have not necessarily seen elite route running ability from him in any game I've seen of him thus far. He does make a couple mistakes in terms of just his overall ability to read zone coverages at times. Typically kind of runs his route into the wrong zone, the wrong area at times. But I still think he's a very good player. I still think he's a guy that has a very good shot at becoming a long-term starter or better. And I think overall I will be excited to see how he tests ultimately at the Combine and where he goes from there. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.